Right, Algebra 2, or Advanced Algebra, however you'd like to call it. We're going to jump into lesson number 8, finding direct variation. So direct variation is a relationship between x and y. And direct means that they move in the same direction. So as x increases, y increases. So it's a direct relationship. If one goes up, the other goes up. The same is true in the reverse. As x, or your input, decreases, then so does your output. Y would also decreases. Now, direct variation has a very simple equation or format. I like to use x and y. The book uses a and b, but y equals k times x, where k is called your constant of variation. So an example would be y equals 2x. Okay, so whatever I plug into x, I'm going to multiply by 2, and that gives me y. So if x equaled 2, y would be 4, right? 2 times 2. If x equaled 3, y would be 6. If x equals 4, 4 times 2 is 8. Notice both values are increasing, so my 8 looks kind of sloppy. So as x is getting bigger, moving left to right, so is y. All right, so I'm going to do a couple examples with you, and then we'll do lesson practice. So number 1, when 120 seconds have passed, 2 minutes have passed. If 300 seconds have passed, how many minutes have? Now, I don't know why this is an example in the book, because you should be able to do that without never being in a math class, because all of you should know how many seconds are in a minute. But either way, I'm going to go over how I would set this up, okay? So I probably wouldn't even use this equation, but I know that 100, so you could set it up 2 ways. I could say that 2 times something equaled 120 seconds, right? 2 times 2 minutes, 2 times something is 120 seconds, and to divide by that, or to solve for that, I would divide by 2. So my constant of variation is 60. Or you could simply have said, okay, 120 seconds divided by 2 minutes equals 60. So you don't have to use x, you can just do mental math. Either way, I should get that. The constant of variation, what changed here was 60. So if I have 300 seconds, I would divide by 60, and that would tell me 3 minutes have passed. Now, that is how to do it mentally. If you use a variable, for example here, 2 times x, whatever that is, gave me 120. Once I solved it for 60, I would say, well, 60 times the number of minutes, so whatever you want to, so this would technically be k. So 60 times however many minutes equals 300 seconds. I would divide by 60, and 300 seconds divided by, why is that not working out in my head? Because this is not 3. It's 5. I'm like, there's something's wrong here. Okay, so you choose if you'd like to do it this way. So here's one way to do it, using variables, or just use mental math. Either way, the answer is still 5 minutes. So number 2, a car traveled 10 kilometers in 30 minutes. What is the distance traveled in 45 minutes? So again, I can use mental math. I can create a ratio. This is how I would set it up. Again, you don't have to, okay? So I would set it up this way. I traveled 10 kilometers in 30 minutes. I have to match this. How many kilometers did I travel in 45 minutes? Now notice a couple of things. Notice that in the top, for both of them, I have kilometers. And in the bottom, they're both minutes. Notice they match each other, and that's super important. I have to have a ratio that matches. Kilometers to minute equals kilometers to minutes. To solve that, I would cross multiply. So 10 times 45 equals 30 times x. This would be 450 equals 30x. Divide by 30. And I got x equals 15. And notice I'm missing kilometers, so 15 kilometers, right? Because I'm asking about distance. So x kilometers, my answer is here. So 15 kilometers. So I'm just going over different ways that you can mentally solve these problems by creating a ratio, by creating a direct variation, or by using mental math. Next one. Number 3, 12 items cost $78. How much would 42 items cost? Okay, so I'm going to show you kind of the mental way I would set this up. 12 items times however much they cost equal the total of $78. I don't know how much each item costs, so I'm going to figure that out. Or I could set up a proportion. 12 items is to $78 as 42 items is to X dollars. And then you would pick which method you prefer. This one, you would have to cross multiply. This one, you'd have to solve for x. So it's up to you. Let's say I use this method, divide by 12. X equals $6.50 per item. So 42 times $6.50 would give me $273 total. Or you can use this method. Now, if you use the method on the right, you would need to cross multiply. And so 12x equals 78 times 42. So 12x equals, 3,456. Divide by 12, and guess what x equals? $273. So you pick, I'm going to put more than one way of solving. Okay? You pick which method makes the most sense to you. Okay? All right, I think that pretty much sums up the different types of problems we're going to be doing. So I'm going to jump into lesson practice, which is on page 51. And here we go. So part A told us the number of inches varies directly with the number of feet. If a board measures 36 inches, it measures 3 feet. If a board measures 60 inches, how many feet? So, hopefully you guys know the conversion there, right? There are 12 inches per foot. So you can set it up either way. I'm going to set it up 36 inches is to 3 feet. So 60 inches is to x feet. I'm going to cross multiply. So 3 times 60 equals 36 times x. I'm going to make a note. So that gives me 180 equals 36x. Divide by 36. And I got x equals 5 feet. That's one way of doing it. B, they told me the number of cups directly with the number of fluid ounces. Now, I don't have this conversion memorized. So 5 cups is equivalent to 40 ounces. And it asks how many cups are equivalent to 64 ounces. So again, I like to use ratios. I think they're faster to solve, but it's up to you. So I'm going to cross multiply. So 5 times 64 equals 40 times x. 5 times 64 is 320 equals 40x. Divide by 40, and x equals 8 cups. Part C, the cost of gas varies directly with the number of gallons. Some of you are starting to drive, right? The more gas you put in your car, that's the more gallons, and the more gallons you put in your car, the more expensive it is. So it tells me that 10 gallons costs $25, and it asks, what do 15 gallons cost? So X dollars, right? Oh, sorry. Good. I'm recording, so sorry. So I'm going to cross multiply. I'm at work, so if people come in, I have to let them know I'm recording. So 10 times x equals 25 times 15. So 10x equals 375. Divide both sides by 10, and x equals 37.50. That's how much it would cost me. D. It says that it talks about the amount of dirt needed to fill a garden, and it talks about number of bags. So I'm just going to set it up as I read it. 2 bags of dirt are needed to cover a garden that has 54 square feet, so I write feet squared. And then it asks me how many bags, so X number of bags are needed to cover a garden that's 135 square feet. Whoops, got my letters and my S's all mashed up. I'm going to fix that for you. This should be G. This should be squared. So I'm going to cross multiply 2 times 135. Notice I don't involve the words. Equals 54 times x. 2 times 135 is 270 equals 54x. So if I divide, I get x equals 5 bags of dirt. All right, E. They've given me a table. And because it's a table and they gave me 3 pieces, notice they have 2 volumes and 2 lengths. And so we can use either one. I'm just going to use the one closest to the volume we're looking for. So I'm going to set it up 45 gallons is to 30 feet, as x gallons is to 40 feet, and then I would cross multiply. So notice it's the same pattern each time. 45 times 40 equals 30 times x, and that gave me 1800 equals 30x. So x equals 60 gallons. We are going to skip part F. Part G, we are going to use, it says to use example number 4. And in example number 4, they told us about volume, and it has a direct variation. So I know volume equals the constant of variation times length. You don't have to solve it that way, though. They said write the equation that represents the relationship between volume and length and use it to predict the volume of pipe at a length of 100 feet. So I'm going to use what we know in example 4. And I'm trying to find my work that I can't see in my classroom because it's dark. So in example 4, it tells me that my relationship is 4/5. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud. I'm trying to figure out why I wrote, because this is in liters. Oh, it wants me to know the relationship from part E. So using part E, I know that 30 gallons is to, I was looking at example 4 from the book, not part E, sorry, and that's what threw me off, is equivalent to 20 feet. So if I reduce that, that's 3:2. So volume equals 3/2 times length. And they've told me that I have a length of 100 feet. So what is my volume? Volume would be 3/2 times 100 feet, which gives me a volume of 150 gallons. And that is it for that lesson.